Lining up here then, we've got the women's doubles. So we've got an 18-boat lineup competing for just 3 medals. But of course, everybody leaves every World Rowing event with a ranking for the championships. So an absolutely stacked field here. Nations from all around the world taking part. You can see, though, of course, larger representation from those nations that have a real depth in their coastal rowing pedigree. Typically Spain, Ireland, USA really making their presence felt in the field. There we have Sawley and Zafe, Jenny Sawley, Gillian Zafe. So let's see what happens here in the women's doubles now then. That's USA's next level rowing. Your club mates getting off to what looks like a clean start there. Brooke Downs giving a good push off, and those center lanes are already starting to push out to a quick start.
We got a collision here.
Looking here at Spain 4. So this is the crew from Club Maritimo Linene, Paola Giannina, Pecano, and Mercedes de Alba. Oh, this is a devastating start for Spain and what looks like the Danish boat. We'll have to confirm that shortly, but that's not how you get off the beach, is it? It's Ireland 1, in fact. Kincastle Rowing Club, Dinnica Maguire and Niamh Dugan caught up with, I think, the Dansk Studentes Rock Club, Samantha Robbins and Elizabeth Keller.
You hate to see it. I mean, that's exactly what we were just talking about. That's why you want to get out and avoid that, because now they're, I don't know, 15, 20, even maybe 30 seconds behind, and they're just going to be on the chase and hope for people to crash and collide and then, you know, work off that angle.
Now, you and Chris were super fast off the beach, and you guys just got off to a really fast lead. It seems to be everybody's tactic. Throw everything into the first K. Risky, though, isn't it? I mean, you're pretty much putting a lot of the energy reserves out there in the first kilometer.
Exactly. I mean, everyone, you see right here, we have the Dutch off to a beautiful start. They're going to be cooking to the first, but, I mean, they're just so much longer. And, you know, I mean, right now, as we see on the speedboard, they are top of the leaderboard. So it's working really well for them. And everyone's tactic is pretty similar up until the first 2 buoys. You want to get out and then control from there, because once you're in front, you can play the angles so much more than when you're chasing.
And amazingly, that is the Dutch combination of Janneke van der Meulen and Karin Robbers, world champions in this boat class from 2022 last year in Saundersfoot, Wales, Great Britain. They also just won in the Hollandia Roy Club women's quad in that A final. So they're already a world champion today. Now they're going to try and do it twice over now in the double. And it's a cracking start for them here, isn't it? So coming up to this first turning point, how much are you relying on yourself looking over for the buoy versus the handlers on the beach giving you signals?
Yeah, so I mean, right here for this women's, they're about 2 minutes in. I mean, unless they have 40-20 vision, they can't see anyone on the beach with their hands up. So right here, what I would be doing is looking around, taking a little peek every 15-20 strokes, make sure I didn't drift too much. But, I mean, the Dutch, Monaco, Spain right here, they're doing a wonderful job. Spain trying to take the inside. But, I mean, the Dutch seem to just be pulling inches away every stroke.
It is a good quick start for them here. And what are you thinking when it comes to positioning towards this first turning point? I mean, you don't have much of a choice when it comes to the lane order, so you're sort of in the middle of the pack if you're faster through the heats.
Exactly.
But then when it comes to positioning for that first turning point, do you want to try to position on the outside, or is it just a case of get there first and not to worry too much about the rest of the field?
Yeah, so I mean, I can speak from what Chris and I did. We were a little bit more aggressive, so we were able to get out in front, like the Dutch right here. And, I mean, we had 2-3 boat lengths to position wherever we wanted. So we took it really tight on that second turn, too, and then just pick our point pretty much. So, but like Spain here, Monaco chasing, you really have to play what lies. You know, whatever cards are still dealt in your deck. Like, if Dutch takes it tight, you might want to take the outside. And then, you know, either squeeze your way in later or play your cards differently.
Well, here's the field coming up towards the first turning point, 1,250 meters to turning point 1. Netherlands out in front of now Austria pulling through. This is Magdalena and Katarina Lobnig, sisters from the Austrian rowing team, and they've certainly been performing well. Magdalena, Olympic bronze medalist from Tokyo 2020, just a couple of years ago. Here we're racing with her sister, so they've got the same length of levers, they're the same height and dimensions, which means they're able to just move that boat so consistently. They're going to be one to watch, and I think the Monegascans, Martina Fanfani and Gaia Chiovini, will be thinking about what they're going to do as they see the Austrians pull up alongside them.
Yeah, I mean, we see the Dutch really rowing so long. I mean, and we got on the inside, we got Spain. I mean, there's pedigree, intense in this sport. So they're going to be playing all the angles right here. They're up in the rate, trying to get around. Who is that? That's Monaco. Yeah, 2 Swifts fighting it out. But seems like Spain is edging out in front here. Yep.
Yeah, Spain's starting to get the better of this last couple hundred meters before the turning point. So very, very fast start for the Dutch, but now being closed in as the Lobnig sisters start to get overlap. We could see a bit of a tussle here, but what's it like going through these rollers as they get out to that first turning point? It looks like those rollers are coming at you.
Yeah, so right here, they're just going over it. Maybe it might be coming over port side bow a little bit. So it's really who can control it more. You know, you really want to get the blades up, because if you get caught, that's a crab right there, and then someone's gaining. So right here we have the Austrians really pushing back up, you know, that have contact, and in the next minute or so, they should be coming up on the buoy. So let's see who plays that better.
And it's interesting to see the Lobnig sisters have a really long stroke, don't they? They're at 30 strokes a minute to the Dutch up there at 32.
Yeah, I mean, I had the pleasure to meet them yesterday, and they were wonderful people. So let's see how this works for them. But
interestingly, so here's a question for you: what length oars have you got?
That's a secret.
You see, I've been really enjoying trying to pick into that with all of the crews, because there's been a lot of debate about the Lobnig sisters looking for the slightly longer oars, 287s. Most people here, I think, racing with 284s, but some of the athletes cutting their oars shorter so that they can get a little bit more leverage around the pin. But coming around the turning point, it's the Dutch first, just ahead of the Monegascans, and then only 3 seconds separating the Netherlands, Hollandia Roy Club, and the Dutch. And then it is Spain 1 round next, the Real Club Mediterráneo de Malaga. That's the combination of Italian Celia, Miguel Gomez.
Little clusters here coming around, yeah. From 5th to 8th, really tight, 2 seconds.
Cindy Pellegrino and Véronique Couvreur for Chablais Aviron Tonon. That's the French 2-boat currently in 6th behind Italy's composite from Santo Stefano, Lecco, Elisa Arcara and Alice Romea.
Yeah, it seems like Dutch going a little wide with their point choice, maybe leaving some room for Austria to come around, but Dutch still about a boat and a half maybe in front, and Spain up in the rate trying to work the Swift a little bit. But I mean, Felipe's handling these waves really well today.
Yeah, I tell you what's been really interesting is this back straight, this 1,500 meters now. Tell us, what's this like compared to the heats that you'd raced previously, where it was just the 4K course? Is it just endless?
I mean, you really got to play your angles. So it's going to be much longer than you think. I mean, we're not, this isn't flat water, so we're not cooking at 140s, 130s, maybe like a 205.
Right.
So it does take quite a bit. And I mean, you'll be going in this direction for anywhere from 8 to 12 minutes, maybe, depending on the boat. So who's going to pick what angle and what direction to ride the waves? And it seems like Austrians are coming in on the inside. They may be 1 meter off. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they are starting to move through the Dutch here. That's going to be worrying for the current reigning world champions of Janneke van der Molen and Karin Roberts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really right here, especially in this long stretch. Who can ride the waves better? Who has the better tactic? It seems like they're both taking a peek at the point. What's the best approach to get the buoy?
How did you find this straight then? Because it looked like through part of this 1,500 meters, you'd earn a massive lead in the first leg, and then your lead didn't extend much in this back straight, but then you pulled away again when you turned back after turning point 3 towards the shore. So what was different about this 1,500 meter straight for you?
Yeah, so I mean, personally, I was pretty wide, because as we could see with the camera angle here, like the rollers, they're coming towards inshore. So it's not going to be a straight push. It's going to be an angle towards the inside of the buoy. So I mean, what I would advise is be a little wide and then ride the waves at that angle. And I mean, it worked really well for Chris and I. Yeah. And we were able to get right up with the oars on the turn buoy and then just slingshot out.
What I find really interesting here is Janneke van der Molen and Karin Roberts, that little bit more experience with the coastal conditions than the Austrian duo of the Lobnigs. But chatting to Yuri Suchak from the Austrian rowing team, they train out on the Volgamarkt in Austria, where it's a massive stretch of water, and they can get 20K in one direction. So whilst it's not coastal, they do find conditions similar to these, perhaps without the rollers, but the same sort of level of chop and wind kick up that you're getting out there today in conditions like this, which is setting them up well. But you can see their push past the Dutch has stalled slightly, hasn't it? Yeah.
It seems like they're trying to ride the wave. You know, they might be caught right in the middle of it, but it's really, when you catch the wave, who can ride it the longest? Like, what's your... Oh, wow.
Goodness
me.
It's
collision
like
right here.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now, with all that ocean to play with,
my God.
and they find themselves in a complete tangle.
Wow.
This is how you push apart, though. You've got to pull your oar in and try to push off.
Yep.
This could have cost them. Oh, you can't push off the person.
Yeah. I mean, right here.
They've lost their bow number. There we go. I think Janneke van der Molen has got her blades clear, and that allows them to pull away. Austria's Toblerone has fallen off, but we know who they are. But this has opened it up for Spain. Goodness me, the Miguel Gomez sisters will be thinking Christmas come early.
Yeah, Christmas in October. So, I mean, they really capitalized. So the best thing to do when you're in a crash like that is just level head and work with the other boat, actually. You push the oars off. You know, I mean, the Dutch really just were jamming the oars in the Austrian bow. You see right here, and now Austria and Spain are getting locked up a little bit. But I mean,
yeah, crikey. They're all over each other now. Let's see a little slow-mo of this crash. I thought for a second there that the Dutch had been bogged down. I hadn't realized that they were literally on top of each other.
Wow.
But it is tricky to separate these boats. They do sort of zip together with the oars.
Yeah, they do. Riggers just get really tight. See right here, yeah, the Dutch, who just need to work together, and they're just pushing around.
Oh, there went the Toblerone. Well, we're back into the action now, and I think the Lobnig sisters have just managed to fend off the Miguel Gomez sisters, who are trying to move through. Celia Miguel Gomez, world champion in the women's quad last year, now finds herself here with Natalia, who's an Olympian for the Spanish squad. She was silver medal in the mixed double back in Oeiras in 2021. Now, they're going to be the majority of the way along this 1,500-meter segment, and when it comes to overtaking, it's quite tricky to do that as you get into the shorter legs between turning points.
Exactly. So, I mean, right here, they're coming up on the second turn pretty soon. And, I mean, by the time they get to the third, maybe fourth turn, the positions are pretty hard to change. Unless if someone's really cooked it in the first half or they go really wide like I did, they're not really leaving a lot of room. So right here, we see the Austrians catching the wave a little wide. And, I mean, hopefully that plays in their angle, but
it is a very different line that the Austrians are taking here compared to the Dutch and the Spanish. I wonder what's causing that. Is that an issue with seeing the turning point in the distance because it's so far away? What do you reckon?
It might be that. They might be correcting it, or they just, the waves spun them a little bit, and, you know, it's really hard to bring it back, especially while you're riding. So, and they don't want to lose that free speed. So, yeah,
crucial. Well, there's Spain 1, now trailing behind the Lobnig sisters. That's the 1-2-3. Behind them, then, we've got the Monegascans from Société Nautique de Monaco, Martina Fanfani and Gaia Chiavini. They're still in fourth place ahead of the Italians, the composite from Santo Stefano and Lecco, Elisa Arcara and Alice Romea. Not too far there stern, we've got the France 2 combination, which is the boat from Chablais-Aveyron-Tonon.
It seems that the Austrians have pushed in front. I mean, they really used that collision, you know, fuel some anger there. I mean, they're pushing. They want to prove a point now. Maybe rub it in their face a little bit.
Yeah, that is amazing. Through the course of only a few hundred meters, they've taken 2.5, 3 lengths out of the Hollandia Roy Club double.
I mean, they pushed up. They were even with Spain, and now they have about 40-meter lead.
Oh, so, is a wobble for the Austrians. Not quite sure what that was about. It looked as though in the bow seat, Katarina just having to take something up over her head, it looked almost like. We'll see what. Doesn't seem to have upset their rhythm too much, just a couple of missed strokes, but that's allowed the Dutch to get overlap again.
Yeah. So right here, about 50 meters to the turn. Let's see who can angle it better. But
oh, it's so interesting, because what you were saying earlier about those rollers pushing you into the shore, that's why the Austrians were moving out.
Exactly.
Moving through the line between the Dutch and the Spanish to get on the outside. We've seen the Dutch have had to correct and pull in behind the Austrians. So despite the perhaps longer experience in the Dutch boat, when it comes to coastal rowing, this is going to be a battle all the way to the line, these two crews.
I mean, they want it to be a bloodbath. So
look at that camera boat helping us with the views. But Spain, it's like several Christmases come at once for Spain. Just that's allowed the Dutch to move up in front. So the Austrians struggling in the clashing. They'll want to row the cleaner course, therefore. They need to get themselves out in front. They've got the better boat speed, but just every time there's a corner, I think that it seems as though the Dutch just have a slightly better way of getting around those corners and recontesting the lead.
Yeah, I think the Dutch are taking these turns really aggressive. I mean, that's what you need to do. If you're coming at the same speed, you know, you got to play off their angle. If they're going wide, you really got to inch in and sneak your bow in. And, I mean, the Dutch did a wonderful job on that one.
We're looking at the Dutch racing in their Rubinetti. Here come the Austrians in there, Felipe, moving up past the Netherlands. Now they've got a bit of separation. They'll be wanting to capitalize on this space for Austria and see if they can get their stern out in front, but they could stand to lose everything if they haven't got a way of getting around this turning point, TP4, in a way that means they don't tie themselves up against with the Netherlands.
Seems like Austria have a really great straight point coming in that third turn. Dutch are a little bit on the inside, so let's see if it's going to be the same play out as the next turn. Spain going really wide, but I mean, that might be working in their favor, catching these waves a little bit.
So trailing behind this battle for gold and silver, we've got the Real Club Mediterráneo de Malaga currently in third. It's the Monegascans in fourth. Italy won for the composite of Santo Stefano and Lecco in fifth. Then we've got France 2, the Chablais Aviron Tonon in sixth. Seventh place is Société Nautique de la Baie de Saint-Malo in seventh. Great Britain won then, the Runcorn Rowing Club in eighth, ahead of USA 1, where we find the next level rowing combination of Jenny Sawley and Julian Zeif. And then in 10th place, Peru, the Club de Regatas Lima, Maria Jose Sevasco and Amalia Aspiliaga. Around this turning point, I'm sure we're going to see a view in a minute. They still look pretty close with the Austrians just out in front. So at this stage, Corey, you're pretty gassed out because you've done the 2 long legs. Yeah. What's going through your mind here?
Right here, all you need to do is control. You know, I mean, who can stay the most calm? You know, who can work it better? Because, I mean, a top speed is really not going to be too high, especially with these conditions we have today. So it's who can capitalize on it the better and stay the most controlled. Because it's going to be a toss-up. You know, they're going to catch a wave, you're going to catch a wave. You see right here, we have Monaco catching a wave, Italy on the outside trying to stay calm. But it's who can make the least amount of mistakes.
That's it, isn't it? I mean, Italy won there for the Santo Stefano Lecco, getting moved through by Société Nautique de Monaco. How easy is it to see the boys in the distance at this point here? So you know you've gone around turning point 4, you're looking for turning point 5, which is sort of nestled in that corner of the coastline. Yeah,
so I mean, right here, this last stretch, once you get out of this turn, the buoy will be on starboard side, and then it's a straight shot. And that, I think that's probably the last easiest one, because then you really have to cut back up to the course. And I happen to miss that one on my final, but we have Austria. Oh, we have a little crash here, a little tangle.
There's a bit of a tangle at the back of the field there. Tough to see precisely who it is, but they're dropping back. I think Austria is still leading in front of the Netherlands, coming around to turning point 5 now.
Yeah, Austria working a big lead about 20, 30 meters up. I mean, they really work in this angle right here. Great rowing by them.
Yeah, they certainly work well together, the Lobnig sisters. That's them round the corner.
Yep. Spain seemed to be very clear in third. Not much of a push from 4th or 5th.
I wonder who's going to take that bronze medal. It's going to be between Spain and Monaco. But I think there's a bit of a margin there. So I think Spain might be safe for the bronze medal behind Austria and the Netherlands. There's a good 50, 60 meters behind them.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3 already out of the turn. We got the next little pack coming in here.
Yeah, this Peru we're looking at there. The Club de Regatas Lima, Maria Jose Savasco and Amalia Aspillaga. They're going around that turning point now. So now they make their way towards turning point 6. And now they're going back in the opposite direction of that long 1,500 meter back straight.
Yes.
So they're going into, you guys were doing this too earlier, going into those rolling waves. How does that feel like? And what do you do differently to combat that?
I mean, you really have to stay loose. You know, forearms at this point in the race are really blowing up. Your shoulders are going through it. So it's who can manage it, who can manage lactic acid the most, and just, you know, work with the waves, do what you can. Austria, Netherlands doing a wonderful job here. Spain, not too far off the pace. But it seems to be 1, 2, 3 right here.
Oh, no.
Italy with the broken oar. They lost their port.
Lost an oar. It looks like they've only got the one. I'm not sure where the other one's gotten to, but that's race ending for Italy. Upset there. Only one person going to be able to row them in. That's going to have your work cut out for you. I mean, talking about burnt forearms, doing the work of 2 now on your own. Here's that battle at the front of the field now then. It's Austria ahead of the Netherlands. Netherlands not letting them break away from it just yet, though.
Not at all.
I thought we might see the Austrians start to run away with it. They had the better boat speed down the back straight. I wonder if this is a case of they've eased off now that they're out in front. I can't imagine anyone wanting to do that.
Yeah, I mean, Dutch giving them a run for their money. I mean, they got 1 win, but it seems like they want 2 here. So right here, they need to go tight up the buoy. And, I mean, don't make the same mistake that I did and take it wide. Because the waves are just going to keep pushing you further out.
Yeah. Well, they did look like they weren't pinching around that corner. Here comes Austria. They've taken it relatively wide there, haven't they? This could be opening the door for the Netherlands to row through them. Such disaster for the Italians there. Not much they can do about it now. They're just going to have to row their way in. They might have to acknowledge that that's basically race over.
Yeah, it really is.
Look at this, the Dutch moving through Austria. This navigation around turning point 6 proving to be tricky for everybody here today.
Yeah, and I mean, they're getting really close again. They might have an little oar clash again. Yep, a little bit of oar banging here.
Interesting to see the confidence in their direction. Not much looking over their shoulder from either of these boats.
Austria seems just to have a little bit of an edge here. Pushing through the waves head on, just a little bit better than Netherlands here.
They are, aren't they? How did you gauge how far you are from the next turning point, and how frequently were you looking over your shoulder to check alignment?
Yes, so on the long stretches, maybe every 20 or so strokes, not too frequent, but on these last little stretches, the last 3 or 4 buoys, maybe every 5-6 strokes, because the waves are just pushing you so much.
Oh, penalty coming in for Monaco. So we'll see what that means. Monaco 0-1, that's the crew, 60 seconds, and the penalties are incurred on the beach. So that could well be medal-losing stuff here. It's 60 seconds for interference. I guess that's what's knocked out the Italy 1 boat. The composite from Santo Stefano Lecco was a tangle with Monaco. Coming up to turning point 7 now then, we've got the Lobnig sisters. Oh, goodness, a lot of grit and determination for them at this point.
Yeah, they're just rowing so loose right here. I mean, really getting the blades in and then, you know, leaning back as far as they can, trying to milk every little thing. Little point adjustment here. This seems to be coming up on that one of the last buoys here. But Dutch,
and now time for a tight corner. Oh, they've overshot. Look at that.
Getting the inside.
Again, just the superior turning from the Dutch just means that the Austrians can't get away from it.
We have Monaco 1 in Italy here. Really tight racing, but Monaco with the 60-second penalty coming in.
That's going to be heartbreak for them. I thought it was this Italy boat they were out in, but Italy's Santo Stefano and Lecco still very much in this race, but neither of these crews will know that Monaco have a penalty yet. And it's a big penalty, 60 seconds, a long time.
Yeah, it really is heartbreaking news. Coming in on the beach, you just want to finish the race, and I mean, pointing to the penalty box, watching the competitors run by.
Well, they're around turning point 7 now, so they're going to be thinking about how to negotiate the chicane that's coming up. So this chicane between turning points 8 and 9, 170 meters between 8 and 9, and then they go around the usual run-in past turning point 10.
Yeah, really tight. I mean, hard to pass in 180 meters, and it seems the Dutch have taken the lead, and they're just climbing away with it.
Yeah, this is tricky stuff, this, isn't it? It's almost like a carbon copy of your race, except for the fact that, you know, these two boats are now neck and neck, and we could see the sprint up the beach. Yeah. I don't know who the sprinter's going to be in either of these two crews. I think when we were watching you alongside Sweden, we sort of thought that you'd be quite quick up the sand if you could be on the beach in a relatively similar time.
Yeah.
But I think with these two boats, they're going to be relatively matched for speed on the sand.
I think so. I mean, they're both. It seems like the Dutch are starting to pull away a little bit more. Austria trying to check the course. They both have really different angles. Let's see who's right here.
Really different angles, aren't they?
What a...
The Dutch pulling their way around. I wonder if the Dutch had found themselves pointing at turning point 9 rather than 8, and they've still got the chicane to go round. This could be... Wow. It's hard navigating this A final course. 6 kilometers, 10 turning points to memorize. And I think this could well cost the Netherlands quite a bit of distance there.
I think so, but they're riding the waves spot on. A little bit better than Austria.
Uh-oh, here comes the convergence. Where's the yellow buoy?
Yeah,
Because they're both going to arrive at it pretty much level. Now the chicane, the Dutch have got to take a really tight corner around it.
Austria taking the inside. Nice, they might capitalize on this right here. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I think Austria, they've got to take a slightly steeper corner now because
A little bit of work.
turning point 9 still a little bit further to the seaside of this course. Oh, this is what coastal racing is all about. Absolutely neck and neck, these two.
Yeah, coming into the last 500-600 meters, and we're still contact. I mean, this is a 1.5 second difference right here. Beautiful racing by both crews.
Yeah, so good. It's basically what we saw with you against Sweden in the men's double. I mean, just trading places around the corners. I must say, though, that the Dutch don't look too gassed out here. They're starting to pull around. They're at the buoy.
Got the inside.
Really tight turning, almost using the buoy to help slow them down on their port side. And look at that. It's earned them a length of clear water.
Yeah, and they're into the last. That was the last buoy. Straight into the beach from here. Seems the Dutch have maybe 2 boat lengths.
Yeah, this is going to be hard work for the Lobnig sisters to get back in front. Just showed that on that back straight they had such great speed, but it's all in the corners and the ability to pivot around really quickly.
Yeah, the Dutch trying to walk away with this here.
31 strokes a minute, still ticking it over at the same speed they were at the beginning of the course. So how does that work for you guys? Do you have just a race pace that you're just holding, or are you guys putting in some pushes between certain turning points?
I mean, it really depends on what the boat wants to do. So we have to work with the waves. You know, if the waves are working in our favor, we'll tick the rate up. You know, it might be up to 36, 38, but probably coasting, maybe mid-30s, pretty similar to these two crews right here. The Austrians walking right back up.
They've got amazing engines on them. Magdalena and Katarina Lobnig. That's the sort of thing that got Magdalena her Olympic bronze medal in the single in Tokyo. Tricky stuff, though, to get the boat speed up here in the solo on the coast. Just over 350 meters left for this 6K coastal race.
Yeah, so as we see at this angle, it's pretty straight with the waves. So who can ride it? Who can capitalize the best on this come around? So who's going to have the straightest point into the finish? And Netherlands around it first.
Phenomenal technique from Janneke van der Molen and Karin Roberts. They've pulled out another length in that corner.
Yeah.
It's just amazing speed through the turns.
Austria just a touch wide. Netherlands straight point into the screen, yeah.
Mitchell Steinman on the beach, the tall Dutchman. Saw him racing in the Solo B final earlier.
Hard to miss him.
Hard to miss him, that's right. That's right, exactly the sort of person you want on the shore, guiding you in for the straightest line possible. A little bit of a weave there from the Austrians, adding a little bit of distance for them to cover.
Catching the wave a little sideways. Yeah, who can control it the best here? I mean, the last 200 meters.
That's it, they caught it. And that's the coastal expertise and skills needed to just take advantage of that surf and hold on to that wave.
Exactly.
And they've pulled out now 30 meters on Austria.
Yeah.
Last few strokes and they're going to be on the beach. I think this is a win for the Netherlands.
I think so.
Retaining their title of last year. Janneke van der Molen and Karin Roberts. I don't want to speak too soon. They're not on the beach just yet, but I think they've got enough of a margin to be able to jog up that beach and lock in the gold medal. Janneke van der Molen in the bow seat. We expect she'll be the one making the sprint up the sand.
Yep. Oh, there's the last stroke.
And she's got time to find her feet cleanly.
Yep.
Straight up to the line. She knows she's done it.
Yes.
The crowd's delighted by the performance. Gold medal goes to the Netherlands. They repeat their performance of last year. Hollandia Roy Clubs, Janneke van der Molen and Karin Roberts. Silver goes to Austria's rowing team, Katarina and Magdalena Lobnig. And then coming in for the bronze, we still expect to see the Club Real Mediterráneo de Malaga,
Yes.
Natalia and Celia Gomez. They're a close third place.
Wonderful race.
Here they come, that's it.
Yep. She knows she has it.
Oh, don't call her up too soon. running up to take the bronze medal. Stunning performance from Spain. Tension filled all the way to the line, but here's a recap of that start. 18 boats setting off for just 3 medals to win. A fast start for the USA crew, but the fastest start went to the Dutch, where we saw Hollandia Roy Club's Janneke van der Molen and Karin Robert surge out to an early lead. The Lobnig sisters of Austria caught them quickly, but then a few tangles, which they pretty much repeated all the way around the course. These two boats neck and neck through all of the twists and turns of the 6K course and even through the chicanes. Some broken oars for the other crews and a couple of penalties for the others out there too, but it was a lock-up between Austria and the Netherlands all the way to the line. The Netherlands coming out the better for it in the last straight. They pulled out to a comfortable lead, which meant we saw Janneke van der Molen cross the line to take gold home for Hollandia Roy Club, the Netherlands, silver to the Austrian rowing team, and then bronze to Real Club Mediterráneo de Malaga. Now, I've had the pleasure of being joined here in the commentary box by Corey Rogers, 2 times world champion in 2 weekends. And just like we saw there for Janneke van der Molen, that was her 2nd gold of the day. What's it like? Barletta is going to be imprinted on your memory for life.
Yeah, I mean, I think this morning that definitely took the top memory. That was my favorite race so far, best finish. So I couldn't be more proud.
Netherlands! The Netherlands represented by
Olanda, rappresentata da
Janneke van der Molen.